Swimsuit season is here, and that has a lot of us thinking about shedding some pounds before hitting the pool.
Okay, but we all know here losing weight is not easy, and a lot of us Georgians have more than just a few pounds to knock off here. In fact, according to data from the National Opinion Research Center at the University of Chicago, at least 43% of Georgia residents land in the obesity range. It's why new emerging weight loss options like the diabetes management drug Ozempic are in such high demand. Now, according to the latest Google Trends data, Atlanta ranks second in the country for cities searching for Ozempic. But now a different drug is on the fast track for weight management, and it could actually bring you better results and also become the next big thing. I spoke to a doctor about those results.
Life-changing, life-saving is what I'd like to say.
Randall Fox quickly becoming a new man, one injection at a time.
The long-term health benefits are exactly where healthcare needs to be going.
In the 5 months since he began taking Mounjaro, he's lost 50 pounds, gained more energy, and improved other health metrics like his cholesterol.
It's not just about diabetes. It's about heart disease. It's about dementia. It's about cholesterol, liver, weight.
It is totally revolutionary.
Dr. Kelvin Brown of Precision Health predicts the tirzepatide Mounjaro will replace the demand for drugs like Ozempic and Wegovy. He says it offers better results.
A lot of people need the medication. They will benefit from the medication.
1 in 10 Americans have diabetes. 1 in 3 are pre-diabetic. 2 out of 3 U.S. adults have overweight or obesity, and hundreds of thousands more struggle with other health problems.
A lot of people at risk, they don't even know they have pre-diabetes, or at risk for most people is more than just the looks. It's the confidence or self-esteem or losing inches or having energy.
Dr. Brown says interest in these weight loss methods show no signs of slowing down.
Results produce another wave through referrals, word of mouth.
Many advocates, like Fox, say they don't plan to stop using it anytime soon.
I think it's really on the forefront of changing healthcare for everybody.